Hello, 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 and felicitations. It's me, Felicia Day, and this is my podcast. Hey, hey, what's up? So, I did not update the podcast last week because I have very little to talk about, except for being tired and sick, and I figured that's something we've covered in the past. So, I didn't really need to update you on my tiredness and sickness and all that stuff. But this week has been really fun, and I'd love to share it with you. Happy, whatever day this is. Wednesday? I don't know. So I took the bold step this week of deleting Twitter from my phone. Hooray! Which is ironic because I just bought a new phone. I bought an iPhone XS 256 gray. I don't know. It's going to get here today because they're sending it in the mail, and I am so excited. Mainly because I want a better camera because my nanny takes better pictures than me of my daughter. And so I feel like I'm basically being shown up in the baby picture realm. So I'm like, well, I could have gotten an 8, but the X has a little emoji thing where you can talk your little, my brother he just got one last week too. And he keeps sending me profanity laced messages on iMessage with his stupid little face. So I need to be able to exchange those with him. So that's, sibling bonding. And then also I just want bigger pictures. So that's coming in the mail today and I'm so excited. But in the meantime, I deleted Twitter from my phone. And I got to tell you guys, it was such a relief. I have actually been super, super much more productive. Now, I noticed, that I try to check my phone every 35 to 55 seconds, which obviously indicates a fragmented brain pattern, which I really like to work on. And what I did was I took the Twitter off the phone completely, and then I put Duolingo and my Kindle reading app on the bottom bar. So basically I'm like, hey, if you have the impulse to look down, learn some do some learning or do some reading. That worked for about, a day. And then my brain was like, hey, there's this thing called Facebook. So I got to delete Facebook off the phone too. Surprisingly, Instagram is not as addictive to me. Like, I don't follow a ton of people on Instagram, so it's not like I could scroll through hundreds of pictures. I follow very few people personally, just because it just gets too messy. Also, half of it is ads, some of which I like. But anyway, so I need to delete Facebook. And then, so here goes the hierarchy. It was Twitter, then Facebook, because I'm in a couple of baby groups that I really am addicted to. And then it goes down to my Feedly, where I'm reading RSS because I'm an old school person. And I just I don't know. I don't know how people get along without RSS. I don't know. Do you go to the individual sites separately? I don't know how you aggregate a ton of content and read all of it very effectively and fastly. Is that a word? That's not a word. Ugh. I'm getting smarter. So then it was Facebook, Feedly. Then I would go to the New York Times crossword puzzle because I'm like, I'm self-righteously improving my brain. And then I get down to Duolingo. I'd be like, okay, do a Duolingo lesson. And then I would go into my games folder. So I think that's an okay hierarchy. I feel like my priorities are better, but not best. I think once I get that new phone installed, I will have plenty to distract myself. But really, the Twitter thing, I just need to get off there. It's been very emotionally fraught. I've had a lot of emotional responses to things that have been happening. And I think I'm angrier than I ever been. I'm angrier than I ever have been. Let me just say that a little bit in a cleaner English way. And I'm not an angry person, you guys. That is not a predominant emotion for me. And so it feels so, it's the only way to relieve a pressure valve is to retweet something or tweet something. And I'm just like, I'm not adding to anything. I'm adding to a toxic emotional pile of impotent rage and outrage because no matter how crazy things are getting, it doesn't seem like anything is pushing back on it. And I understand that it's just this title thing that is encouraging people. It's going to swing back. It's motivating a lot of people to act. And so anyway, and then it's just been this communal thing with other women in a way that I think is interesting and not jarring would be the word. A lot of people's stories. So anyway, I don't like to talk extensively about politics, but I will say that that was a motivating factor for me uninstalling Twitter. So I can check Twitter on my desktop. I can check it on my laptop. I'm trying to just like segregate it to 2 or 3 times a day. I can check it and get some news and become outraged and then log off. I also started doing meditation tapes again before bedtime, and it really is helping me sleep. I'm not waking up with my heart pounding and a panic as much. So I think as just a general mental state, I was wound too tight and I was not sleeping enough, and it just was getting in a bad place. And that the extreme measure is helping. I had to reinstall Twitter just for an event that I went to a couple days ago because I wanted to tweet some pictures, and then I uninstalled it again, which I was kind of proud of myself. So long story short, doing some self-care, doing some reorganizing of my life, and it's really good. Speaking of the event that I needed to install Twitter for, I went to the Venom premiere, you guys. So I get invited to movie premieres a lot. I've actually never been invited to a Marvel movie premiere. I'm not on that list, but I'm on every other, especially sci-fi geek list. So, and I never do them. Because, let me just explain to you about movie premieres. They're just, first of all, you can't buy your own popcorn. They give you popcorn. And including this one, they pre-package the popcorn and they put it on the seats. So basically, this is like hours old popcorn, inedible. Like I could have broken a tooth on one of these things, which is good because if I eat popcorn, I get a stomachache. So it prevented me from eating popcorn. So thank you for your crappy popcorn Venom premiere. 2, it's just a bunch of hullabaloo, rigmarole. What other fancy old-fashioned word can I use? Raucous, shenanigans. It is just a pain in the butt. There are policemen everywhere. All the streets are blocked off. You really should hire a limo to take you, but I'm not going to spend that much money and have somebody wait around for me in a car. I could have taken a Lyft, but I like to drive myself. And so I drove myself. Of course, the place they have you park is miles away. I forgot to print out the parking pass. I had to sweet talk the person to let me in. It was still $15. Okay. B, you have to look good. You can't phone it in, okay? It's really about the presentation of yourself in a weird way. Or you could just kind of slink in, but not if you're kind of like a person like me where they want you as a sort of a representative of geekdom or whatever. They want you to take pictures. That's kind of like the trade for the seat. So, and I got a good seat. It was lovely. And I actually really had a good time because I invited a friend of mine and I haven't gone out at night. The only anxious part of it was, what am I going to wear? Because I wear exactly 5 shirts now and 2 pairs of jeans. I rotate them in when they start to smell bad, and I never do my hair. So on a Monday night, I was like, okay, you got to get your head situated with the makeups and the curling, and you got to get an outfit that's acceptable. Well, I went to Bloomingdale's, and the only thing I could find, because my body is so different from before I had a baby that I really don't know how to dress it anymore. And the only thing I could find that I was feeling halfway confident in was like $400. I don't know how people buy more than one outfit ever again. You're like, is it a car or is it a wardrobe? So I don't spend money on clothes. I should have gone to H&M, but I was like, oh, it's a premiere. I should go get something fancy. Heck no, I'm not getting anything fancy because I'm not that important. I'm not going to do red carpet. I'm not selling anything right now. Like, I don't have a press person escorting me down the press line. Like, it's all like this career stuff that people just want to be seen, quote unquote. And I just don't have the time for it right now or the reason for it. So I was like, okay, I went to the store. I got depressed. I came back. I left my hat there. But I did get Calliope a couple of books. And she had a good time at the mall because there was a sitting area with like a fancy dog. It was like a dog statue, and she really liked that. So anyway, it wasn't a total wash going to the mall, but anyway, it was a wash as far as like getting an outfit. So what I did was I just bought a pair of pants to go with the shirt that I bought that I couldn't figure out what to go with, what pants to go with it. And I wore that, and it turned out great, you guys. And I went, and barring the crappy popcorn, I had a good time. Would I say it's my favorite movie? Absolutely not. The first 30 minutes is, not my favorite. It's very standard. It feels like kind of a throwback to old superhero movies. But then it goes kind of wackadoodle in the middle to the end. And you're just like, I'm not bored. I'm enjoying myself. Tom Hardy and Venom. Like, I wish he had gotten Venom earlier, and then the whole movie could be the craziness between them, because that was super enjoyable. And there's some plot hole. Like, if you start to deconstruct it, forget it. You're just like, why did, and what happened there? And it feels like they cut out like an hour of the movie, because like some scenes just have big chunks out of them that are just like, I guess that person was supposed to talk, but they're not really going to talk right now. So, whatever. Some of the fight sequences are really good. Car chases. Again, Tom Hardy, great. Worth the price of admission, Tom Hardy, because he's such an eccentric, weird actor. And I saw him from afar, and I wanted to get closer. And then I was like, don't do that. Don't be tacky. They also had this weird, like, VR thing where you stood there and Venom would envelop your head. And that was pretty cool. I have that. Maybe I'll try to get a still off of that for the podcast still. And I had a good time. Got a free Sprite, free popcorn I didn't eat, and I enjoyed myself. So, upshot is I should actually get out of the house more, maybe. But doing my hair does really suck. Next, I am going to... if you guys... No shout out to a sponsor. Got no sponsors here. Nobody's supporting this racket. But if you would go to iTunes and review the podcast, I would really appreciate it. This week, I am going to move to Libsyn and try to broadcast this podcast on a bunch of more platforms. So it should be available on Google Play and a bunch of other ones, because I can push out there. SoundCloud, you can only push to iTunes. And so it's kind of limiting. I'll still keep uploading to SoundCloud. I don't know if I can push there or just have to do a separate upload. But for those of you enjoying the podcast on SoundCloud, I will still provide you a service. It's just I want to be able to get out to other places that other people would like to download. So I'm going to be doing that this week. So any reviews for my iTunes thing would be really appreciated. I really would like that, because it helps get visibility for the podcast and encourages me to maybe up my game from a beta to a non-beta person podcast. Anyway, I am also opening the Discord. So if you guys don't know what Discord is a chat place. If you remember IM and ICQ and all back in the day, well, Discord is that on steroids. It also has like voiced chatting. It also, you could see what your friends are playing, what games they're playing. It's actually really, really well done. You could join lots of different Discord channels and have them really easily lined up on the side. And I really enjoy it as a format to interact with community, especially since Twitter is just not the place to be right now for that kind of thing. I miss community. I miss building. I miss talking to people about board games or reading about people's board games and video games. So the Discord is where it's at. We have a great community over there. Until now, it has been limited to people who are subscribers on Twitch. Now, my subscription on Twitch is only $5. It's a one-time fee, and 90% of the money goes to charity. So that was considered a bar to entry to keep trolls out. But in interacting with people at conventions, people really don't understand what Discord is. And like sending them to Twitch, then sending them to subscribe to Twitch, then sending them back to the Discord. It's just a lot of steps for people who are not as tech savvy or gaming savvy. And I think that the Discord would really flourish if we had more people there talking about all sorts of things, and just open it up for alternatives for people who like what I do, who really just are not feeling that sort of back and forth dialogue on Twitter or Facebook or anything. Because really, Facebook groups kind of scratch that itch, but I don't know. Facebook is kind of bad, you guys. There was that data breach, and I don't know. It's all going to crap. Let's just go to the only new platform that I'm really excited about, which is Discord. So the link to come to the Discord will be in the description. The mods have very broad power to ban trolls. So we're going to keep it just like the Twitch chat. Really, nobody can insult people. Keeping politics off the table. I think I might do a politics channel just in case somebody wants to, dive in, because it is something that's super germane right now, and I really want people to connect around it. Not fight, but hey, if you're going to have a discourse and dialogue that's not contentious, because I really want to keep the vibes really not hostile on there, we'll provide that channel. But in general, it's just really good. So join it. Join us. Discord. In Babyville this week, I have a couple of things to share. Calliope just So remember that nursery rhyme book I was talking about? The old one that my mom read to me and my mom's mom read to her? It's called Childcraft. It's like this really old book. Well, she discovered that and wants to read it 4 times a day, all, 100 pages. And like the deeper you get in, like it is bad, guys. Not only is every person a he, there is cat drownings and women cutting the tails off rats. And basically I have to rewrite everything. And then she discovered nursery rhyme songs. So that's all I listen to in the car now. 5 little ducklings went out to play over the hills and far away. Mama duck went quack, 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 and shoot me in the head. What? So that's all I sing all the time. And she loves it when I'm like, ba, ba, black sheep, have you any wool? That's your. One for Calliope and one for Mama and one for the banjo and speed bump too. Those are just cats. And like basically she loves it. Customize it, check. Baby's happy. Also, the cutest thing that's happened this week with her, and I don't want to wax on about this, but she's kind of brilliant. I got her this little doctor kit that was like $10. And anytime, especially when the nursery rhymes, they injure themselves. So Jack and Jill, when he goes down the hill and breaks his crown, she automatically gets up and goes and gets the doctor kit and basically does everything like she gets. And I am not like teaching her. She sees me, I show her how to use the instruments in the doctor kit and she's like, oh, okay. How's the blood pressure? And her answer is always like, yeah. So how's the blood pressure, Clappy? Yeah. How's the heart sound? Yeah. Can you look in their ears? Are there any birds in there? Because there's this Dr. Seuss book that has like birds coming out of a dude's ear. And she was so concerned about it. I was like, oh no, there's no birds in the ear. So we always check for birds in the ear and take the temperature. And then she gives like 55 shots. So everybody is like an opium addict now in my house. And then she gets a piece of paper out and puts it on Jack's head because he went to bed with vinegar and brown paper. Duh. How does that work anyway? What is that vinegar and brown paper thing? Is that really like standard practice back then with physicians? No wonder people died all the time. So that's the cutest stuff that's happened this week in Calliope. It was very pleasing. And I have to say, she is 20 months and she is like literally getting like a dozen words a day. And I don't know, she's a human and I feel bad when I'm not with her. Like I want to see what she's doing and interact with her, but I got to work. I got 2 writing deadlines by the end of the year and I'm kind of freaking out. I am not good about disciplining myself to use my time efficiently. And multiple deadlines are not good. And I have, I'm going to Fan Expo Vancouver this month, which is my last convention of the year, which is going to be super fun. And then I might put an appearance at the end of the month at a convention, but I don't know that for sure. But anyway, just life fills up. I'm doing a podcast, blah, blah, blah. A scripted podcast of a friend. And guys, the walls start closing in on you when you have children, okay? There's no like, whoa, let's just spend the day playing Fallout. Never again. Never. Never again. Work, baby, sleep, eating, forget play. There's no time for it. I used to want a time-space continuum to just go into and, be able to watch TV. Now I just want to just rest or just stare catatonically at the wall. I have been watching 1 hour of Great British Baking Show every night on Netflix. Season 5, I guess. It's season 14 or something in the UK. Listen, you guys. This may be disloyal and controversial, but I actually like the new host better. First of all, Mighty Boosh is my literal favorite TV show of all time, especially season 2. Crack Fox, there are so many good things there. It's so surreal and fun, and the songs are amazing. So Noel Fielding, just seeing him on my TV is a pleasure. I went to his live show, and then I ran into Edgar Wright one time, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go get drinks with, Noel and a bunch of, and he was like, do you want to go? And I was like, no, because I was so terrified to meet him in person that I might burst into tears because I love him so much. That is true. And then the other co-host, Sandy Toksvig, I don't know who she is because she's hilarious. I'm going to look up her other work. And the other judge, well, okay, listen, she's no Mary, but Prue she's got a little salt in her that I like. I liked Mary's benevolent grandma, drunk grandma kind of persona a lot more. I think it went well with Paul Hollywood. They're both a little spicy now, Prue and Paul Hollywood. But Paul Hollywood got this crazy, self-tan, and he just looks so tan all the time. And Noel makes fun of him, and it makes me so happy because it's obvious Paul Hollywood doesn't, that's a sensitive spot for him. Oh, it makes me so happy. So, highly recommended. I'm on like the last 4 episodes now, and I just can't wait. I just can't wait. So that's what I was consuming. Other things I've consumed this week. I've been continuing to read the Montaigne book. I don't know how to pronounce it. If you're French, just go away. I mean, no, don't go away. Just, I apologize. I apologize. Feel free to judge me. That's what I'm saying. How to Live or A Life of Montaigne in 1 question and 20 attempts at an answer by Sarah Bakewell. It's not light reading, but I do read a chapter a night before I go to bed, which is great because I tried to read another book before bed last week and literally could not sleep because I was so anxious and excited about the book. So I don't know when I'm going to finish this book, guys, but I highly recommend it. It is Embers in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. And it is a fantasy novel about sort of an alt-Roman history with slavery and it has a titch of magic in it. And it has 2 leads. It's kind of YA, but it is dark, guys. It is like Hunger Games dark. It is not light YA. And I was so traumatized by all the stuff and the tension. It is like the tensest book I've read in a long time. I can't deal with tension anymore, guys. I can't. I'm so high strung. I think, and that was also coinciding with me being on Twitter and being so upset about politics, and also me not being able to sleep, and my acid reflux was like flaring up, whether that was my diet because I was eating a lot of pizza or what. So I had to stop reading that book. I'm halfway through and I really want to read it, but too tense. So I'm going to figure out, maybe I'll do a morning reading session and try to finish that book because I guess there's 4 in the series, which, why don't we just have trilogies anymore? I love 3. It's 1, 2, 3. So easy. Why 4? Why 5? Why not 3? Trilogy. Quadrilogy does not have the ring to it, guys. Let's bring back the trilogy. Anyway, I'm going to read all of them. So that one is one that I would like to finish. I just got An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, dropped onto my Kindle. It looks amazing. He uploaded some fan art. I guess he hired, or maybe artists just gave him fan art of his book, and it is just incredible. I'm sure it's going to be number 1 on the bestseller list next week, and rightly so, because all the reviews look amazing, and I've started digging in. Just the first chapter is like, he hooked me. That is a genetic link there, I guess, to be a good storyteller. And it took him years to write this book, you guys. Creativity doesn't happen overnight, okay? Especially long-term returns require long-term investment. What am I, like Sue Orman now, right? Ugh. 2 other books I read this week, because they are graphic novels, I was able to read them very fast. I went to the launch party for Woman World, which is a graphic novel by my friend Aminder Dhaliwal. And while I was there, Megan Nicole Dong was interviewing her at the book release party, and she has a new book called Sharky Malarkey out, and they're both amazing graphic novels. Woman World is one of the favorite things I've read in a while, because it's like this utopian vision of what would happen if men died out, and I understand that is considered maybe hostile, but it is really funny, you guys, and gentle, and it's almost like it's a way to put feminist ideas in a very accessible, funny way that it's not hostile toward men. It just kind of explores the what if. And it is so beautifully drawn. I love it so much. Really, really funny. Both of these graphic novels started on Instagram. I guess they're both professional animators. If you guys saw the live stream for the Rises that we did, they actually were the 2 of the artists that came on screen, and they were painting and drawing for the fundraiser. So if you're into graphic novels, highly recommend those 2. And if you like fantasy, Embers in the Ashes. If you like lighter YA fantasy, Hank Green's book. And also if you want to dive into Montaigne, it's actually great. True story, I used to read a lot of philosophy. One of my favorite books is Sophie's World, which is this wonderful book where it's a narrator talking to a little girl about philosophical points of view throughout history. And I try to reread it every 3 or 4 years because it really illuminates life in a way and makes me think about things in ways that I might have forgotten, or now that I'm a different person 3 years later might just process differently. And so, I don't know, I like big picture thinking, and it's rare that we get to do it or are forced to do it or encouraged to do it in life because we're really just deluged all the time with minutia and just surviving and consuming what we want to consume or think we want to consume, and sort of neglect our higher thinking in that way. And I don't know, it's nice to scratch the itch ever so often before you go back to, fart jokes and watching superhero shows, which I love too. You can like all things, guys. You can like them all. Okay, this is turning into a really substantial podcast. Woohoo! Patting myself on the back. Okay, let's do some questionsies. Who knows more? Zubo asks, who knows more about dragons, Poppy or Lyra? Interesting question. I mean, well, they're two different universes. Poppy from The Magicians is a character I play as an actor, and Lyra was the character I played on Critical Role. So, I mean, I would have to say, wow, that's really... I feel like Poppy might be, because she feels like she's older than Lyra. Lyra feels like she's in her early 20s. Poppy is in her late 20s, or maybe even 30, because she's a graduate student. So I would say maybe Poppy, she does have this sort of obsessive quality that Lyra has as well. So they might be the same character, you guys. Ooh, cross-dimensional whatever. Next question. James Albins? Oh, yeah, James Albins. I cut and paste these questions from the Google spreadsheet that Sean Sandaluki so wonderfully puts in there. But when I paste them in the stickies, they all scrunch up, and it's 3 letters per line. You know what I'm talking about, guys. It's stupid. Hi, Felicia, as a fellow tabletop gamer, what are your thoughts on the oversaturation of games currently hitting the market? With so much choice out there, people don't tend to stick with 1 or 2 game systems, which is making local player pools smaller. That is really interesting. So, role-playing games, I don't really have as much bandwidth right now in my life to play them. But as you guys may know, I started doing D&D way before even the guild started. I was in a long-standing RPG that was D&D based, but actually it was, this land was an invention of Travis, who used to run Acme Theater. And so I would drive out to his house every Sunday, and it was literally the highlight of my week, going out there and playing. I would always cook cookies, and I would bring them, and we'd spend 5-6 hours on a Sunday doing just amazing role playing. And we were all improv actors, so everybody would do their voices, and some people would dress up, and it was just honestly some of my most fond gaming memories outside of WoW and playing with my brother online and things like that. So I had to drop that when the guild took off and everything just got crazy. I couldn't do the commute, couldn't do the cookies, couldn't do the 6-hour, and I certainly couldn't fit that in my life right now. I am so excited about the day when Calliope's old enough for me to do do DM for her and her friends. It'll probably be an hour session because, I'll try to start at 5, but dreams. So listen, Jim, you are asking a question that no one has the answer to because it literally applies to everything in the world. So we were saturated with music first with Napster. Remember back in the day with music, and everybody could just get all music, and then everybody started doing their self-published music, and everybody just got saturated, and now musicians have a very hard time making a living because there is so much out there and everything is so fragmented. Web series, same difference. I was one of the first people to do scripted web series, not the first, certainly one of the first, and I loved it. I thought there was 4 or 5 years there that people were making really high quality content, and then people started investing in that content, and then more people started investing and making, and there were too many things to consume and too many eyeballs spread out, and then you couldn't really spend money on content because you wouldn't be able to get enough eyeballs on it. Also, what I think made web series kind of fizzle so quickly is that filmmaking requires a lot more people to do it, or you're stretched so thin that you burn out, as you could see with YouTubers who you'd think theoretically one person could do all that. There's no way. All those people have editors, they have people to help them in life, they have assistants, they have to. It is, and that schedule, the upload schedule expected of YouTubers is insane. And you have to do it to keep your audience. I went away for several months one time, and then the audience disappears. So it is a very fickle thing, and even if you're a one-person shop, you can't sustain the kind of output that you really need to in order to maintain or build an audience, especially if you want to do scripted. That is that's dozens of people. Even on a web series like The Guild, which was very, very small and very we never had budget really. It was, a fraction of a low budget movie that we ever had every year, but it was still dozens of people working on the show. So that all collapsed. And I think, that phenomenon is going to happen again. And guess what's next? TV. Because literally 5 shows a day get released. And I don't know about you guys, but there's simply not enough hours in the day to consume anything. You could have 2. I don't know. I would love to see a scientific survey of like how many shows you could actually keep up with. I would say maybe 4. Then you start to just crumple. Especially since, and gaming, forget it. I mean, I want to play Assassin's Creed so bad. I'm going to be streaming it because that's literally the only excuse I can think of to take one time a week to play it. But I would love to play that like 4 days in a row. It's not going to happen because I'm an adult now and I have a child who, needs to be fed and might, put something in her eye if I don't watch it. She's suicidal now right now, but it's out of ignorance. So there you go. And this TV boom, it's just like, how can you spend $3, $4, $5 million on an episode and have less than 1 million people watching it, right? I mean, it's just impossible. There's just too much out there, and it's a bubble that's going to burst very radically. And the good thing is we'll be left with a lot of TV that no one was able to watch that we'll be able to watch for years. So there you go. So I think the same phenomenon is applying to games right now. And the thing about games is, like music or, novel writing, it's not as many people that need to, you don't need that many people. Like, it's not like filmmaking. Although if you're making a big game, that's obviously a lot of people. But an RPG module or a system can be made by one single person, right? So that's why we're seeing an influx, because the format is popular and people are imaginative and have a voice and want to share their creativities. And I think it's fantastic. Unfortunately, it's really tough. And I think the only thing you could do is look to sort of not gatekeepers, but people who are curators, and look to them to help you. Their job needs to be to cull the herd for you. Unfortunately, we don't have, and I think this is kind of in general in media now, we don't have enough, tastemakers. We don't have enough people who are able to devote their time to winnowing down our viewpoint to what we should consume. And when we do have people like that, we're jaded because we think, oh, maybe they were paid to, winnow that down for me. And in some instances, yeah, it is. And those rules, are ignored, the FEC rules and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm going into too much detail. But long story short, I guess the best thing to do, listen, here's what I think would be the ultimate thing, is that if you or an aggregate of people, either through Patreon or someone starting a subscription, even $1 a month, kind of like the Washington Post does. They charge a subscription fee to read their articles online. Charge and have somebody help, cull the herd in the subjects that we all love. And I guess I'm talking about a company, which I'm not doing. But I love making it easy for people to consume things. That's a passion for mine. So if I had the bandwidth, I would love to do that in the world of RPGs. Unfortunately, do not. So what I would recommend is just find people on Twitter or something who share your tastes and aggregate that into a feed that helps direct your attention. And also, once in a while, just take a dive on somebody's self-made thing, because, hey, you never know when that's going to inspire you to make your own thing, which is really, ultimately, guys, the most rewarding thing, is that you are creating your own creativity. You're expressing your own point of view and inventing your own world. That is really the ultimate in gratification and the best way you can leave your impression on the world, and not just consuming. So I'm not calling anybody lazy, because I am the one right here struggling with writer's block right now, and that's why I'm doing a podcast during the day instead of at night. Yay! Anyway, next question. Okay, couple people love your podcast. On your first podcast, you during the part about your Ayurvedic cleanse, this is Jen's question, you mentioned that you experienced difficult getting pregnant, and you said you'd talk about it at a later date. I'm wondering if you'd talk about it in your next podcast. I'm in my mid-30s and now just thinking about kids. Another question from Danica Vargas asks along the same lines, My husband and I are trying for a child, and I recently went through a rough time where I thought I was pregnant, but found out I wasn't. I don't know if Calliope was planned, but how did you cope with things that aren't coming together? These are two coins, and this is a big question. I try to keep my personal life personal, but this is a really common question, especially for women who are in their 30s and trying to have a baby. Also, it's an eternal question for women, guys, because, guys, we're kind of screwed about childcare and children and pregnancy, because genetically we're supposed to have children probably when we're 17. I mean, like, that's when we're prime. That's when we're most fertile. It's easiest to get pregnant, blah, 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 early 20s. That's easiest, right? The older you get, so you're born with a finite number of eggs. I don't know if, maybe people don't know that. So you're born with all the eggs you'll ever have. Men make sperm, but women are born with the finite number. And they die off by the thousands as you're a kid. And then you release one a month. I'm not a sex ed person, but that's just the basics of it. And this is something I had to learn because I had a lot of trouble getting pregnant and having a baby or carrying a baby. And it was very rough for me. The thing about it is that you go to the gyno and they don't warn you until you're 35. Hey, you're an old mom now. And they're like, what? So after you're 35, you're considered a, what is it called? Senior mother or something like that, which is crazy. But it's an old standard, to be honest with you. But still, just medically, you're considered a geriatric patient. For real. So at 35, there's sort of a noticeable drop-off in the quality of your eggs or the number of your eggs. I mean, I know people who are 30 and they go in and they can't get pregnant and they don't have any eggs left. Circumstantial evidence and a lot of scientific evidence shows that your fertility goes down and it's harder for you to get pregnant. You accumulate more stuff in your body. I'm not a scientist, guys. I'm just telling you all the reasons that I was told that, hey, now you're having a trouble. I was told, hey, this is going to be hard for you. I was like, bitch, no, I'm having a baby. And then it took years to figure it out. It was very, very tough. And it was tough to deal with. And I have so many friends in the same boat because we're all in our 30s and we're like, hey, I couldn't spend my 20s being a mom because I really wanted to have a career. If I stopped my career when I was 20 and shifted to being a parent, I wouldn't be where I am today, right? Problem is when you do that when you're 30, same thing. Your career gets on hold. You're behind everybody else. It doesn't affect men the way it does women because, not that it's genetic, it's just because men are not told that this is how you should change your life when you're a dad. People always ask, oh, you're a mom now. Nobody does that to dads. Oh, you're a dad now, as an excuse for like everything, or like implying that they can't keep up with work or stuff. It's enraging, you guys, but it is what life is, and we can fight it or we can just figure out how to deal with it. That's a whole other topic of discussion, but I'm just saying that's the reason why a lot of women are waiting later to have children, and it's more of a struggle. So I used IVF for Calliope. She's a science baby. I made embryos. I put an embryo in, and after several tries and several many dollars, I got the child I was meant to have. So I guess to answer Danica's question, how do you cope when it doesn't go right? I would tell you that whatever happens is going to be the right child for you. And you have to know that, and it is so horribly, you feel like you're a failure. Like I had problems with fibroids. I had hormonal problems. I had, basically I had so much cortisol in my body. They didn't know how my organs were functioning because I was so stressed all the time. I had to quit a lot of things in order to get my body in a place where I could accept, and carry a baby. And it was very, very rough on me. Emotionally, because you feel like a failure. You feel like this is a natural thing. Why isn't it working? I have a cousin who just, had 5 children and why? Well, each of us is on our own journey, and each of us, if we are blessed and want a child, we're going to get the child that we need. And that may require some false starts. It may require a lot of heartbreak. And I just had to keep faith through the process. And it was actually very, in the end, I learned a lot about life and not being so myopically focused on failure and taking it on myself, and also just being willing to accept what happens into my life and have it change me and then move on. So if you're having trouble, I would recommend go to a doctor and check it out. It could be something super simple. There could be some simple solutions that aren't that expensive to solve it. It could be a more complicated problem with you or your partner or whatever. But just know that it's a very rocky ride, and as is parenthood. And if you could be as zen about it as possible, knowing that every setback is just a step on the journey to get to where you need to be, that is my best advice. And so good luck to you. Good luck to Danica. I know how heartbreaking it is, and I have many, many friends in their boat. And I suggest that one of the best things was just seeking out either a support group around the issue, joining a support group on Facebook about fertility. It's amazing when you don't feel alone about this thing because people don't talk about it. They really don't. I bring it up very openly with my friends, and then you get everybody's story out on the table, and you see how it's kind of like almost like depression and anxiety. When you start to talk about it, you realize how incredibly common it is and how not feeling alone makes it so much easier a burden to bear. And there are so many success stories down the line, especially with, whatever it is that you can take heart with. So good luck to all of you. And if you need a science baby, just do it. That's why science is there, right? Okay. Well, next week is going to be a good week. Guys, I just decided not to record every week if I don't have something awesome to say. So it'll 100% be every 2 weeks. I also am going to be getting my my newsletter together. So if you want to go to tinyletter.com/FeliciaDay, you can subscribe. And when I start sending those out, they will include a link to the podcast as well as a consumable list of whatever I talked about this week, as well as links around the internet that I don't talk about here that I'm interested in. So that's kind of my plan for the newsletter. I'm wanting to get it up and running by the end of the year. I can't give you a date, but if you sign up, it basically has a limit of 5,000 people on that newsletter because Tiny Letter doesn't support more because it's free. So sign up if you want to get your place in it, and I will definitely be setting that up. The Discord will be open, so check the link in the description if you want to come and chat. And there's awesome forums about board games, parenting, video games, meetups, television, anything you want to think of. We have a lot of really awesome subfolders that you could chat in, or just in general. And it's a really, really supportive, great place that I think restores my faith in social media as a platform. I think the only way to get through social media now is just to be smaller and more curated and just more targeted. So join us on there. Thanks, Sean Sandelukiluk, for being the moderator of this podcast and giving my show notes, and to Rocket Soup and Toronto Gal and all the mods over on the Discord. I hope to see you all there. Okay. Have a nice week. Bye.